O Casamento ideal que Virou, Pesadelo, Bilionário Escondido Busca do Verdadeiro Amor. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows over the millionaire's gala in the heart of the city, whispers of mystery and intrigue danced in the air. Amelia stood there, immobilized by anxiety, her heart racing like the bold Ferraris parked out front. She had always dreamt of attending an event like this. Diamonds glittered like stars against the backdrop of designer gowns. But beneath the surface glamour was an unsettling tension. Guests laughed, but their eyes told a different story, a story of secrets, of unspeakable truths hidden behind velvet ropes and closed doors. A sudden hush fell over the room. All eyes turned to the grand staircase as he appeared, Victor Carraway, the enigmatic billionaire rumored to be as ruthless as he was charming. But the woman on his arm, a beauty whose face seemed carved from marble, wore an expression of fear masked by a professional smile. The air crackled with unasked questions. Was she truly content, or was she simply another pawn in Victor's twisted game of hearts? Amelia felt a chill slide down her spine. People spoke of Victor in hushed tones, sharing wild stories of his past: a missing wife, unexplained disappearances of business partners, and a darkness lurking just beneath his polished exterior. She could almost taste the tension, salt in the air, thick enough to choke on. But none of those tales prepared her for what happened next. A scream ripped through the ballroom, suddenly slicing through the laughter like glass shattering. It was muffled, but the panic in the room was palpable. Whispers morphed into cries of alarm as a woman's perfume wafted by, heavy and sweet, only to be replaced by something far more nauseating, the coppery scent of blood. As the crowd parted, the reality struck like a punch to Amelia's gut. There, sprawled on the ornate marble floor, lay the lifeless body of Victor's latest mistress. The dazzling lights above flickered, casting a haunting glow over her pale face. Fear gripped Amelia as she realized, this was no accident. Was it revenge? Jealousy? Or was Victor the very monster the rumors claimed him to be? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Amelia's heart thudded violently in her chest as the police arrived. She was locked in a whirlwind of emotions: fear, compassion, a burning curiosity surrounding Victor's secret life. What kind of desperate game was being played here? Who would dare challenge Victor? The storm was brewing, and Amelia realized she was now part of this dangerous narrative. Questions pressed in on her, each demand echoing louder than the last. What secrets would surface now? Were the rumors true? And most importantly, would anyone survive the fallout from this elegant nightmare? As sirens wailed in the distance, the tension in the room escalated to a fever pitch. Amelia caught sight of Victor, his expression remaining inscrutable as he knelt beside the body, cradling the woman's head, his face a mask of feigned sorrow. But something in his clasp was unnerving, it was almost possessive, too calm for the chaos surrounding him. The officers burst through the gilded entrance, their uniforms stark against the opulent decor. Eyes darted nervously, guests divided between curiosity and fear. Questions hung in the air, thick and pungent, while the only sound was the rhythmic thud of Amelia's heart echoing in her ears. She inched closer, unwilling to let the moment pass without unraveling the truth behind the life that had just been extinguished. What happened? The senior detective barked, attempting to construct order from the chaos. Victor turned, his lips curling into a sly smile, chilling Amelia to the bone. It was the smile of a man who had orchestrated a tragedy, one who remained above the fray while others grappled with the fallout. I assure you, officer, this is a tragic mistake. She slipped, Victor stammered, but the words felt rehearsed, dressed in deceit. Amelia noted the quick flicker of his gaze, almost as if he were gauging the room's reaction, sizing up his audience, waiting for the perfect moment to strike back. A murmur spread through the crowd as the detective motioned for witnesses to step forward. Slowly, conversations tumbled over each other, each person desperate to unburden themselves of their own version of the story. But Amelia recoiled at the thought of speaking. What if she drew attention to herself? There was no doubt she couldn't risk being a pawn in Victor's game, not now. Then, amid the whispering throng, a loud crash jolted her back to reality. One of the grand chandeliers dropped, crashing down onto the dance floor, shattering the spell of elegance that had cloaked the evening in its luxurious veneer. Guests screamed, and panic surged like a tidal wave. Amelia stumbled backwards, colliding with a heavy-set man who caught her as she faltered. "You need to get out of here," he urged, urgency ringing in his tone. His eyes darted toward Victor, who was now frantically reassessing the scene. "This isn't a place for curiosity seekers. Trust me." She blinked back confusion. "But I can't leave." "What if trust me," he insisted again, more forcefully this time, his grip tightening as he guided her toward a side exit. The howling sirens grew louder, drowning out the chaos inside. But her curiosity clawed at her. The truth about Victor was dangerously close. She broke free from his grasp just moments before stepping outside, ready to confront the world once more. "Amelia!" A voice called, slicing through the noise. It was Victor, his eyes locking onto hers with a predatory stare. "You don't want to get involved." Fear spiraled within her. The weight of his promise hung in the air, dark and suffocating. But as the darkness enveloped the streets, the answer to her burning questions shimmered just beyond reach. Would she dare to uncover Victor's secrets, even if it meant facing a dangerous monster? The answers were swirling in her mind like a storm. Before she could reason it out, footsteps thundered behind her. Who would step out into the fray now? Disparate pieces of the puzzle clicked in her head. She had to know before it was too late. The night held its breath as the unseen threat loomed closer. What would she do now? The question hung heavy in the air, a portent of danger that was just beginning to unfold. Amelia barely blinked before she spun around, her heart racing as shadows danced in the dim light. A figure emerged from the darkness, moving swiftly toward her. Panic washed over her, raw and suffocating. Would it be another uniformed officer, questioning her? Or worse, would it be Victor, his predatory eyes betraying the calm he projected moments before? "Amelia! Wait!" The voice was urgent, tinged with desperation. She recognized it as Nick, her brother's best friend. He dashed across the overflow of chaos, weaving through panicked guests and debris. Relief surged through her. At least it wasn't Victor. But then, a cold dread settled in. Nick had his own connections to this world of wealth and treachery. "What are you doing here?" she gasped, forcing her feet to stay rooted as Nick reached her. "I was looking for you. You can't be here alone." Nick's expression was intense, his brows knitted in worry. "Victor is dangerous, Amelia. You need to leave now." "But they're going to question me. I have to help figure out what happened." Her voice broke with anxiety. She felt torn, a puppet caught in Victor's elaborate game. "No," Nick insisted, his tone sharp. "Helping him is the last thing you want to do. Trust me. He's been involved in things that you wouldn't believe." Seeing the frantic glances exchanged between the officers and the crowd did little to bolster her confidence. Fear washed over her like a wave, but in that moment, a flicker of determination ignited. Victor had deceived her for too long, but just as she gathered her resolve, a rustling sound interrupted their argument. The air thickened, heavy with an unwelcoming foreboding. Amelia's pulse quickened again as she turned her head slightly, catching a glimpse of Victor's silhouette blending into the shadows behind a nearby tree. His eyes glinted like shards of glass, locking onto her with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. "Amelia," he called, his voice smooth like honey, but layered with a darkness that made her stomach twist. "You wouldn't want to make a mistake today. What do you want?" she stammered, backing away instinctively towards Nick. "Just a friendly piece of advice," he replied, stepping into the dim light, his expression devoid of emotion. "Curiosity kills the cat, darling. And the truth? It's a dangerous game, one that might get you hurt." Nick stiffened beside her, his protective stance tightening as he eyed Victor with a mixture of anger and fear. "I'll take care of her," he said defiantly, pulling Amelia closer as if shielding her from a predator, but for Amelia, the fire of curiosity burned brighter. "I'll find out what happened to that woman," she declared, her voice trembling but fierce. "You can't scare me, Victor." Victor's facade faltered for an instant. The flicker of surprise sparked before his lips curled into another cold, mocking smile. "Very well, Amelia. But remember, the truth can consume you." He turned away, his figure melding back into the shadows as a chill swept through her. As the sirens wailed louder, she felt the weight of his warning settle against her chest. "But what if he's right?" she whispered. "Don't think about that. We need to keep moving," Nick urged, tugging on her arm, but something nagged at her. What was Victor truly hiding? With every step they took toward safety, her resolve to uncover the truth grew stronger. The sirens faded, but behind the swirling chaos of thoughts, a new storm was brewing. What dark secrets lay hidden in Victor's world? As they neared the end of the alley, Amelia caught a glimpse of a glinting object on the ground where Victor had stood. Without thinking, she bent down and picked it up, a delicate necklace, its pendant intricately designed, stained crimson at its edges. "What's that?" "Amelia, don't!" Nick warned, but it was too late. An electric shock of realization coursed through her as she recognized the piece. Was this hers? She murmured, her voice breathless, the answer looming impossibly close. A strange laugh echoed in her mind, a lingering reminder of Victor's last words. What had she just stumbled into? The unease hung heavy as Amelia faced Nick, swallowing hard. They were now standing on the edge of danger, the dark abyss of Victor's secrets beckoning. What lay ahead could change everything. Amelia's heart raced as she held the necklace, the cold metal feeling impossibly heavy in her palm. The crimson stain seemed to mock her, whispering secrets she wasn't ready to hear. She glanced up at Nick, whose face was a mixture of horror and urgency. "We need to go. Now." His voice was thick with intensity, pulling her back from the edge of her racing thoughts. "But this could get us killed," he snapped, his frustration rising. "Whatever happened here is bigger than we know. Victor won't stop until he gets what he wants, and right now, that's you." Panic gripped her as she took a step back, her mind flooded with images of bold faces and shadowy threats. "You don't understand," she protested, clutching the necklace tighter. "This might belong to that woman, the one who's dead." Nick cut her off, his voice a frantic whisper. "You think he won't kill again to keep the truth buried?" A chill surged through Amelia. Fear twisted her stomach, and for a moment, she felt paralyzed, the weight of the necklace almost dragging her to the ground. Nick looked around nervously, the sounds of sirens fading but the tension in the air prickling like static. "Please, we have to find somewhere safe." A distant shout pierced through the chaos, redirecting their attention. Uniformed officers were approaching, their eyes scanning the alley for signs of trouble. "Amelia! Let us go!" With a sudden burst of urgency, she pocketed the necklace, the decision weighing heavily on her heart, as they turned to run deeper into the shadows of the alley. Her mind was a tangled web of questions. Who was that woman? What had Victor done to her? And why did the necklace feel so significant? As they ducked behind a dumpster, Amelia caught a glimpse of Victor across the street, his piercing gaze sweeping the area, searching for them. He was a predator, and she felt like prey, abandoned in the world he controlled. "Look away!" Nick hissed, pulling her back, just as Victor's gaze fixed on the spot where they had been standing. What do we do? Amelia's voice trembled, desperation creeping in. We wait, Nick urged, squeezing her hand. We need to think, and we need a plan. We can't let him isolate us. An uneasy silence settled. With every beat of her heart, Amelia felt Victor's presence loom larger, a specter haunting their every move. Just then, Nick's phone buzzed violently in his pocket. Stay quiet, he whispered, inching away to check the screen. The pulse of his anxiety was palpable. It's not good, he muttered, his face draining of color. It's a message from someone, connected to Victor. He knows something. What do you mean? Her pulse quickened. They're coming to find you, Amelia. They need to get you back, to him. A wave of dread washed over her. The revelation crashed around them like waves against rocks. What had she stumbled into? Nick's grip tightened as he looked back at her, a mix of determination and fear sparking in his eyes. We don't have much time. We need to leave and go find out what we're up against together. Amelia saw the resolve in his eyes, but doubt whispered in the back of her mind. Could they really escape the web Victor was spinning? Just as the thought crossed her mind, distant voices echoed down the alley. Strangers were looking for them, ordered and precise. We have to move, she whispered, sensing the urgency. But just as they turned to make a run for it, a figure emerged from the shadows, the last person she expected to see. Amelia, there you are. It was Victor. The alley was no longer safe, and the sinister game was about to escalate. Would they discover the unseen horrors lurking in Victor's world, or would the truth seal their fate? Everything was on a knife's edge. The next move would change everything. Amelia froze, her breath catching in her throat as Victor stepped closer, a predatory smirk stretching across his face. You've been a hard girl to find, he said, his voice smooth like silk, but laced with a venom that made her stomach churn. Don't move. Nick shouted, positioning himself between Amelia and Victor. His bravado felt fragile, but he was ready to fight. She could see the flicker of determination in his eyes, a desperate shield against the monster in front of them. Oh, Nick, Victor chuckled softly, his attention drifting to him. You think you can protect her? This isn't game you can win. He took another step, and Amelia felt the cold dread seep deeper into her bones. Amelia, we need to run. Nick urged, but the alley loomed ominously behind them, the shadowy corners harboring threats she couldn't yet see. What do you want? Amelia asked, desperation staining her voice. The weight of the necklace pulsed in her pocket, a reminder of the woman tied to this horror. Victor chuckled again, and it echoed off the damp brick walls. To clear up a little misunderstanding, dear. You hold something that belongs to me. That is, if you really want to know the truth about who you are. Who I am. She scoffed, though her heart raced. She needed answers, but were his the ones she could trust? Yes. You've stumbled into a world that has been waiting for you, he said, his dark eyes glimmering with malicious intrigue. Nick stepped forward. Back off, Victor. You're not taking her anywhere. Oh, but I'm afraid it's not just up to me, Victor said, his tone chillingly calm. It's much bigger than both of us. There are forces at play that you do not understand, and they will stop at nothing to pull you back to the life that was meant for you. What life? Amelia spat back, her voice shaking. I don't even know who you are. Victor leaned in, his breath assaulting her senses. You're not just a victim, Amelia. You're a key. A key to secrets that could unravel everything you've known. Fingers trembling, Amelia reached for the necklace, feeling the tension rising like a tidal wave. What secrets? But before Victor could answer, a loud bang echoed down the alley, shattering the fragile moment. Nick's eyes widened, and without a word, he grabbed Amelia's arm, pulling her further into the shadows. Run! He shouted as they sprinted away from Victor, who remained stoic, a twisted smile playing on his lips as if he found their fear amusing. Amelia's mind raced. Adrenaline pumped through her veins, but questions clawed at her. What did he mean by life meant for her? Why had she been brought into all of this? The sound of footsteps echoed behind them, quickening and desperate. They were closing in. "Nick, where do we go?" Her voice broke as they turned another corner, desperate for sanctuary. "Anywhere devoid of eyes," he replied, leading them down winding backstreets. In a stark moment of clarity, Amelia realized the significance of the necklace, the connection to a world she had unknowingly tipped into, one full of danger, deception, and devastating truth. They burst into a narrow street, panting, and Nick pulled her behind an old car, its paint peeling and dull. Silence enveloped them for a moment, but it was an uneasy silence. "They'll be looking for us," Nick breathed heavily, his eyes scanning their surroundings. "We can't stop now." "Victor said I'm a key," Amelia murmured, her mind still reeling. Nick's brow furrowed. "What do you think he meant?" Before she could answer, her phone buzzed violently in her pocket, the screen lighting up with an unexpected message. Just as she looked at it, something deep inside her twisted in anxiety. "Who's it from?" Nick asked, peering over her shoulder with interest and dread. As she unlocked the screen, the message read, "You've made a mistake, Amelia. Victor isn't the only one who wants you. Run while you still can." A chill ran down her spine. Who was this mysterious figure? And what had she truly gotten herself into? The walls seemed to close in as they heard the distant sound of sirens growing louder. They were running out of time. Amelia. Nick pulled her back into the shadows just as a figure emerged at the end of the street. "We need to move. Now." Questions flooded her mind, but one surged to the forefront: who could she trust anymore? As they darted into the darkness, the looming question gnawed at her. How deep did Victor's web extend, and who were the allies hidden in its shadows? The city felt like it was closing in on them, but in the chase of survival, she couldn't help but feel that the truth was inching closer, and it might just destroy everything she thought she knew. Adrenaline surged through Amelia as they dashed into the maze of darkened alleyways, the weight of her uncertainty pressing down like a leaden blanket. She could hear the percussive thumping of her heart echoing in her ears, drowning out the distant sirens that seemed to be closing in all around them. "Where do we go?" she gasped, the question already heavy on her tongue. Nick's grip remained firm, determined as he navigated the corners with a frenzied urgency. "Just trust me." He shot her a glance, his jaw set tight, sweat lining his brow. "We need to find a place to lay low and think this through." They skidded around a corner and tumbled into another alley, the shift from chaos to shadow wrapping around them like a cloak. The darkness felt thick, almost suffocating. Each breath was shallow, almost ragged. Amelia's mind raced. Victor's words echoed in her head like a haunting refrain. A key, secrets. What did he know that she didn't? And what life awaited her on the other side of this mess? "Why is he after you?" Nick demanded, breaking her train of thought. "I don't know." She spat back, frustration rising with her anxiety. "I didn't even know he existed until today." Nick nodded, but his eyes narrowed as fresh determination took hold. "Then we need to figure it out. Think, Amelia. What is special about that necklace?" She hesitated, her fingers brushing against the cold metal in her pocket. Every inch of it pulsed like a heartbeat, a reminder of the woman Victor had mentioned. A thought burgeoned inside her, fear mingling with a flicker of hope. "We have to find out who it belonged to," she said, her voice steadying with newfound resolve. "Maybe there's a reason I have it. Maybe it will lead us to the answers." Just then, the sound of footsteps grew louder, echoing off the walls like ominous thunder. Nick crouched lower, pulling her behind a dumpster, their bodies pressed together in the close space. "They can't see us," he whispered, his breath heavy with urgency. "We'll wait until the noise dies down." Amelia's heart pounded, but she strained to listen as the footsteps drew closer. Shadows danced at the alley's entrance, illuminating two figures searching for them. Every second felt like an eternity, and she wished nothing more than to disappear. Where did they go? One of the figures muttered, glancing nervously down the dark corridor. Check over there. The other replied, waving an arm dismissively. They couldn't have gone far. Her blood ran cold. Nick, they're looking for us, she breathed, panic clawing its way back into her chest. Stay quiet, he warned, though his eyes were full of fear. He squeezed her hand tightly, channeling his own resolve into her. After what felt like an endless wait, the footsteps faded, but an unsettling quiet took their place, thick and heavy. Nick glanced at Amelia, his expression grave. We can't stay here. Let us head towards the old shopfronts. We might find help there. They crept out from behind the dumpster, Amelia wary of every noise, every shadow. The street felt alive, teeming with dangers they couldn't see. Just as they reached the edge of the alley, a sudden scream sliced through the night, echoing in their minds, Amelia. Her heart dropped like a stone. That voice, it was unmistakable. Sarah. She whipped around, panic propelling her. Who? Nick looked bewildered. Amelia, we have to keep moving. But it was too late. As she turned back to Nick, the sight of a new figure loomed in front of them, tall and sinister, clad in shadows. Did you really think you could escape? Victor's voice crooned, a smirk stretching across his face as he stepped closer. Amelia's breath caught in her throat again. They were trapped, the walls closing in. Amelia, he continued, you need to understand that running won't change your destiny. Just then, the necklace in her pocket flared with warmth, a jolt of energy pulsing through her. Something deep inside her awakened, stirring against the tide of fear. Stand your ground, she whispered to Nick, trembling but resolute. Victor's eyes glimmered with a twisted anticipation. Now. Let us talk about what you truly are. The city loomed around them, dark and threatening, but what awaited in that shadow was a truth she needed to uncover at all costs. But as he stepped closer, uncertainty crawled back in, and Amelia felt her spine tingle. What was it going to reveal? With Victor's darkness enveloping them, she wondered if the key to her freedom was also the key to her greatest nightmare. What would the truth unveil in the coming moments? As the tension thickened, silence lingered, pulling taut with anticipation, waiting for the next move to break it. Amelia's lungs burned in the thick silence as Victor's presence loomed ominously before her. She could feel Nick's hand firmly squeezing hers, a lifeline amid the encroaching darkness. What do you want from me? Amelia found her voice, forcing words past the tremor that threatened to give her fear away. Her heart raced, emboldened by the strange energy radiating from the necklace in her pocket. Victor chuckled, a low, chilling sound that sent shivers racing down her spine. Ah, the question of the hour. You see, Amelia, you possess something unique. He stepped back, gesturing dramatically as if unveiling a grand treasure. That necklace isn't just some trinket. It's a key. A key to what? Nick interjected, frustration edging his tone. Why, dear boy, to the truth. To a legacy hidden for generations. Victor's eyes sparkled with an unsettling excitement. The woman it belonged to was a great keeper of secrets, and you are her heir. Amelia felt her knees weaken. What does that even mean? I'm no one. The weight of uncertainty began to crush her, but the necklace pulsed again, pushing against her fear like a stubborn flame against the wind. Oh, but you are, Victor countered, his voice dripping with condescension. The circle is unbroken, and it's time for you to step into your rightful place or suffer the consequences. Nick shifted beside her, eyes darting between them. You're insane. We just want to be left alone, he urged. You think we're going to stand here and let you intimidate us? Victor's smile curved, almost amused. You don't understand. This is so much bigger than you could possibly comprehend. The stakes are higher than you know. Stakes. Amelia's pulse raced. What stakes? Victor closed the distance, his face suddenly serious, intensity flickering across his features. Your life, dear Amelia. You think I'm the only one who wants that necklace? Others will hunt you down if I don't, Amelia recoiled. A rush of adrenaline surged through her, battling with the ice that gripped her heart. Why should I believe you? What do I even have to do with this? Because, Victor replied, lowering his voice, you're tied to a legacy of power. Your ancestor held connections that could change the balance of influence. You could have everything for a price. Her vision wavered, confusion crashing over her like a tidal wave. Everything? Or just more danger? Choose wisely, Victor warned, leaning closer, the stench of his stale breath making her stomach churn. You have until the moon rises to decide. With that, he stepped back, the shadows flickering around him like they had lives of their own. Find what you're looking for, or it'll cost you. And Sarah, he added more menacingly, keep her close. They won't stop until they have her too. Panic flared within Amelia again. What do you mean by that? But he simply turned, melding into the darkness like smoke. The silence that followed weighed heavy, both a refuge and a threat. What the hell just happened? Nick finally broke the stillness, disbelief flooding his voice. Did he just give you a deadline? Amelia's heart pounded as the implications of Victor's words sank in. We need to find Sarah. She's in danger. He wouldn't say that unless he meant it. But where do we start? Nick's eyes were wild, caught between the fear of their situation and the need to act. Amelia pulled out the necklace, its surface shimmering under the faint, distant light. Maybe this can lead us to answers. And Sarah. We have to get to her first. But the urgency twisted into fear again as the realization hit her every step they took could be a step into more danger. She squeezed Nick's hand, her mind racing. If Victor's right, we're running out of time. Just then, a faint sound echoed from the mouth of the alleyway, growing louder with each passing second, a voice, desperate and pleading. Amelia. Nick. Her heart stopped. Sarah. They both cried out, resolving to push forward, determination surging with the weight of impending danger, but as they sprinted toward the sound, a chilling laugh pealed through the night, reminding them. They weren't just racing against time. There's no escaping your fate. Would uncovering the secrets within the necklace lead them to Sarah, or would it weave an even darker fate for all of them? Amelia and Nick dashed through the alley, each heartbeat echoing their growing fear. The darkness loomed like a living entity, ready to swallow them whole. Sarah. Where are you? Amelia shouted, her voice trembling in the still night. Keep going. Nick urged, eyes wide and frantic. We need to move faster. As they rounded a corner, they skidded to a halt. There, illuminated by a dim street lamp, was Sarah, or what remained of the confident, carefree girl they once knew. She was hunched against a wall, the shadows casting hollow shapes across her face. Her hands trembled, eyes wide and glassy. Sarah. Amelia cried out, rushing to her friend. But Sarah's gaze held a mixture of terror and disbelief, as if she were staring through them, lost to some unseen nightmare. Don't come any closer. Sarah's voice cracked, fear radiating from her like palpable heat. He is coming. You don't understand. He knows. The chill in the air deepened, suffocating their hope. Who knows? Nick demanded, his voice a mix of urgency and panic. Before Sarah could answer, a shout ricocheted through the alley, Amelia. Nick. The voice belonged to Victor, slicing through the tension like a knife. Shadows danced across the wall, and somewhere in the depths, silence felt more threatening than a scream. Run! Amelia shouted, grabbing Sarah's arm. We have to go. But Sarah fought back, terror gripping her. You don't get it. If we leave now, they'll find us. Who are they? Nick pressed, the urgency in his voice tightening the air around him. Sarah's breath came in ragged gasps. It's the others. The ones who want the necklace. I heard them. There. Hunting you. They want your blood. Amelia's chest tightened. Blood? She looked down at the necklace hanging from her neck, the stone glimmering ominously, as if it were alive. No. They want to have you. Victor's laughter echoed closer, a distorted sound of triumph that sent cold dread crawling over her skin. Oh, but they will. You're all part of this game now. And you're running out of time. With a surge of adrenaline, Amelia pulled Sarah to her feet. We have to move now. They turned to run, but a figure appeared at the opposite end of the alley, cloaked in shadows, blocking their escape. Going somewhere? Victor sneered, his presence radiating an unsettling power. Let us go. Nick yelled, stepping protectively in front of Amelia and Sarah. You want to take them? Take them? Victor laughed again, the sound driving them deeper into despair. I'm here to offer you a chance, dear boy. But you all seem so intent on resisting. Amelia could feel the necklace pulsing against her chest, a rhythm matching her frantic heart. What chance? The only thing you offer is more pain. Pain. Oh, sweetheart, you have no idea. Victor's eyes glowed with an unsettling hunger, a predator teasing its prey. This is just the beginning. The choice lies with you. Join me or suffer the consequences. The air thickened, and Amelia knew they were trapped. Every breath felt like a countdown, time slipping through their fingers as Victor began to advance. Amelia! Sarah screamed, yanking her back as the shadows grew closer. Don't let him take you. Amelia felt her resolve shatter beneath Victor's menacing gaze. I can't let you have this power. Then choose, he whispered, darkness swirling around him like fog, creeping into every corner of her mind. Choose survival, or join me in the shadows. Fear wrapped around her like chains, binding her to the spot. She glanced at Nick, then at Sarah, and a thought flashed through her mind: they could fight back. They could embrace the legacy linked to her ancestor, harness the necklace's power instead of letting it control them. But doubt clouded her judgment. With the shadows inching closer, what could Amelia truly sacrifice to be free? Amelia! Nick's fierce whisper broke through her turmoil, shattering her daze. We have to decide. Now. As the darkness closed in, she stood on the precipice of choice. The weight of her destiny felt heavier than ever. Do we run, or fight? Her heart raced with the pulse of the necklace, the stakes. More than life or death. They were intertwined with a legacy she was only beginning to understand. But with the narrowing throat of darkness behind them, every second felt like the heavy breath of fate itself, and all along, Victor watched, a predator savoring the moment before the hunt. What decision would they make in that fleeting moment of impending darkness? Would they embrace the power, or would the very shadows they fought against consume them whole? Time was running out, and something deep within Amelia stirred, awakening a force she hadn't known existed. The night was far from over. Amelia's mind raced. The shadows curled around them, hungry and waiting. Her heart thudded erratically, drowning out all reason. Fight, she whispered, her words almost lost to the encroaching gloom. A brittle sound, but the thought of giving in? Unimaginable. Amelia, no. Nick's voice gripped her arm as if he could will her hesitation to disappear. We can't do this. Not now. But there was a spark in her gut, igniting into a flame. We can't just stand here. We need to use the necklace. She could almost feel it calling her, a surge of energy urging her to tap into its power. Victor chuckled darkly, pulling them deeper into his thrall. Oh, sweet Amelia. You think you can wield what you don't yet understand? The necklace is not just a trinket, it's a gateway. And it has a mind of its own. Then let it guide me. She stepped forward, each word laced with resolve. But the shadows pressed closer, feeding off her growing desperation. She felt the piercing gaze of Victor, a cold shiver creeping down her spine. You think you can wield power beyond your comprehension? How naive. Together, Nick urged, his voice stronger. We have to combine our strengths, Amelia. We can't let him win. In that moment, Nick's grip tightened around her, and Sarah, finding her voice amid hysteria, stepped forward. You got us into this, Amelia. Let us finish it. The three of them formed a tight circle. Amelia could feel the warmth radiating from Nick and the frantic energy from Sarah. A bond forged in fear, but one that could ignite the strength they needed. On the count of 3, Amelia took a deep breath, staring defiantly at Victor. 1, 2, 3. They shouted in unison, we want to let you take us. A shockwave rippled through the alley. For the first time, the necklace pulsed vividly, its stone glowing bright as they raised their hands toward the encroaching shade. The shadows recoiled, a deep rumble shook the ground beneath them, a sound resembling thunder, twisting the air into chaos. Victor's expression shifted from mirth to fury, eyes flashing with something darker than before. He spread his arms wide, a tempest of shadows swirling around him. Fools! He roared, his voice shattering the night's stillness. You dare defy me? Amelia felt the energy from the necklace surge through her, impulse like electric currents integrating with her veins. An image flickered behind her eyelids, her ancestors, their struggles intertwining with her own. Blood memories surged, ancient power flowing through her like a tide. As she and her friends stood united, the shadows warped, twisting into a storm of dark energy. It howled and shrieked, the very fabric of the night writhed with it. Amelia focused, feeling the necklace pulse against her skin like a heartbeat, drawing strength from deep within. Suddenly, the dark storm burst around Victor, sucking him toward the glowing orb of power they conjured. Amelia saw a panic flash in his eyes, and she couldn't help but feel a spark of thrill. But they were still vulnerable. The circle of light wasn't infallible, the shadows whispered their temptations, secrets clawing at her mind. Now! She shouted, lifting the necklace high. Together! Let us push him back. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the energy illuminated the entire alley, casting aside the darkness for just a moment. But then, something shifted. Churning shadows converged again, faster and more desperate, the air thickening with danger. Victor, barely contained, hissed through gritted teeth. You think this is over? I will not be defeated so easily. An icy fear gripped Amelia, baring its fangs, gnashing, threatening to unravel them. Was this truly their moment of liberation, or something far more terrifying? With all her strength, she spoke into the surge of energy. We want to let you take us. We choose to fight. Amelia's declaration slipped into the wind, but it felt momentous. The shadows hesitated, wavering. Suddenly, a terrifying screech echoed from the darkness. It was low and guttural, warning of something more menacing than Victor. This was not just a fight for her life. Something else was lurking, something far more ancient, what was waiting in the depths, ready to reclaim what was once lost. With the mist swirling around them, the answer tugged at Amelia's very core, an unknown dread harmonizing with their resolve. Time hung on the edge, demanding their next move. Would they harness the necklace's power to confront both Victor and the darker threat looming behind him? Or would fear unravel everything they were fighting for? The night was suffocating, and a single choice would shape their fates forever. The storm of darkness and impending dread pressed in around them, pushing Amelia to the brink. Her mind raced with fear, but the warmth from the necklace pulsed steadily against her heart, grounding her amid the chaos. She locked eyes with Nick and Sarah, their expressions a blend of fear and determination. This was more than just a confrontation with Victor, it was a battle against shadows that loomed beyond the visible. Now! Amelia shouted, her voice breaking through the chaos. We have to focus. We can't let the shadows consume us. With a resolute breath, she channeled every ounce of strength she felt bubbling within, igniting the legacy coursing through her veins. The necklace shone like a beacon, its radiant glow flickering through the haze of shadows. A powerful energy radiated outward, enveloping them in ethereal light. For a moment, it felt as if the world around them went silent, the storm pausing to absorb their defiance. Victor stood there, fury etched across his face as the shadows coiled around him, a feral tempest threatened by their unity. "You think your little display can scare me?" He spat, but the tremor in his voice betrayed his growing uncertainty. Amelia narrowed her focus, feeling the swell of power from her friends. "Together," she urged, heart racing. "Let us push this darkness back." They raised their hands, the necklace shimmering brilliantly, reflecting off the walls of the alley as if capturing the shimmer of hope. In unison, they shouted, "We claim our power." The energy erupted like a shockwave, pushing the shadows backward. A deafening roar cascaded from Victor, echoing as the dark fangs of the storm whipped toward them, desperate to reclaim its hold. Yet, they held firm, their bond solidifying as they created an impenetrable wall of light. For the first time, Amelia felt truly empowered. This wasn't just about survival, it was a reclamation of her identity, a reminder that she was far more than a pawn in Victor's game. "Together," Nick yelled again as he felt the light surge through him. "We can do this." With each word, the light grew stronger, the shadows beginning to twist and fray at the edges. Victor's laughter, a mocking sound, began to falter. "Foolish children," he shouted, but there was panic seeping through his bravado. "You'll never escape the past." But it was too late. The shadows began to unravel, losing their grip on reality. With one final incantation, Amelia conjured every ounce of courage she had. "This is our moment. We claim our future." The shadows screamed in fury as their power shattered against their combined will. A blinding light enveloped Victor, consuming his darkness, rendering him powerless in the face of their unified strength. The alley trembled, and, with an agonizing crescendo, Victor was pulled into the depths of the light, swirling shadows dissipating as he vanished with a final curse caught in the wind. Silence fell. The three stood panting amid the stillness that surrounded them, the weight of what had just unfolded sinking in. They had won, but at what cost? What just happened? Sarah breathed, her eyes wide, still absorbing the enormity of their triumph. Amelia looked down at the necklace, its once ominous glow now a soft, steady light. "I don't know. But I think it's just the beginning." They shared a long breath as the weight of their bond solidified their trust, no longer mere victims to Victor's schemes. They were survivors, warriors in their own story, poised to unravel the legacy Amelia had inherited and the power they had only just begun to discover. As they exited the alley, illuminating the dawn's light breaking over the city, they felt a sense of hope washing over them. It wasn't just about enduring, it was about forging their own paths. Together, Amelia smirked, determination sparking in her eyes. "Let us find out what this legacy means." Together. They stepped forward, moving towards a new dawn filled with both uncertainty and promise, ready to confront whatever the world would throw at them next. And as the sun rose above the horizon, Amelia's voice rang out with clear conviction, "Whatever comes next, we face it head-on. We're not afraid anymore." With newfound strength, they walked away, a trio bonded by fate, ready to embrace their destiny. And now, as you've reached the end of this gripping tale, I need you to take action right now. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help this community grow. Flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about how you feel the story ended. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support is crucial to making this journey together unforgettable. This is the moment to show your support, and only true fans understand the importance of these actions.